Christmas isn't over until we run out of eggnog. And guess what? We've got plenty left in the fridge. Take that, jerks.
Boozy eggnog is indeed your friend. So is champagne and orange juice.
I heard so many horror stories about holiday travel this year. It physically pained me, and I didn't even go anywhere.
Tell me about it. I'm about to go on an amazing trip because I wanted to go out of 2022 with a bang, but I'm already fretting about flying home on Friday the 13th.
Spooky. Have such a good day. Hello, world. Welcome back to Have Such a Good Day, the show that wants you to do just that.
Welcome to episode 171, and this is a musical episode, apparently. Could you imagine?
It's a musical episode. It's also a palindrome episode, Heather.
So
I wasn't sure you. I wasn't sure you and our dear audience had thought about this, but I was thinking about it over the last couple weeks.
I definitely forgot. A lot has happened in the last week. Let me tell you, the earth has shaken literally, and so I just kind of spaced out on the palindrome episode. But this is a very exciting day, Sarah.
Yeah, it is. We're in that funny. I don't know this. The week between Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa, sort of the Christmas holiday and New Year's is always very strange to me because
I think they call
life
it a dead
has
week.
Sort of ground to a halt for a lot of people. So many people just aren't working, or the weather's bad, so they can't sort of go out and do anything. And it's almost 2023, but it's not yet. And I never quite know what to do with myself over this week. Sometimes I'm working. I have some of my stuff. I'm not working very hard this week, which is good for me. Just good timing, just for health reasons. But we are doing this show because we could not stay away.
We could not. And if you are tuning in for the first time, this is a friendly reminder that this is the show that unpacks the absurdity of everyday life for your entertainment. How y'all doing out there?
Yeah, staying dry, staying warm. Depending on where you live, the answer is either yes or no. I've got quite a few friends down in Southern California who were like, yeah, it was 80 degrees on Christmas, like full on shorts weather. And then you've got, the Northeast where people are literally dying in the snow. And it's just
you really have to laugh so you don't cry, because these kinds of times remind you.
I don't think you laugh about death, but yes, I know what you mean. When it comes to weather, you just kind of go like, all right, let's do our best. It really stresses me out though.
Oh, me too. It's not a friendly reminder that like we're like spinning on a rock in the sky, and like earthquakes and weather, and like we are definitely at the mercy of whatever, and we just have no idea what we're going to wake up to. I have a friend who went back east. Actually, it was like the day before. I think it was like the 23rd. She flew to New York. And I mean, it was just kind of in the midst of the news that like, oh, we've got this huge storm, like do not fly anywhere. And she was totally worried. Got there fine. But I can't even imagine. I mean, I'm going south, so hopefully I can avoid the weather. But yeah, going east right now, I do not envy anybody, no matter how
East or
adventurous
north.
and fun.
I mean, of course, Heather and I are on the West Coast, so, a lot of things are east of us, but yeah, I really feel for a ton of friends, and even just people I don't know that well, that were telling their nightmare airline or whatever travel stories, online that I ended up reading. I mean, just one horrific story after the next.
Like, what was one of the worst?
One of the worst was, remember our old colleague Laura Swisher? Of course you do.
Oh yeah. I did see that on Instagram. Yeah.
She I mean, this is just, one example of many. And many of you probably know Laura from our days at Tech TV and G4. If you know us from back in those days. But yeah, she was flying to Denver. She was flying out of SFO, San Francisco. And like flight gets canceled, and it's like really imperative that she gets to Denver. And so they rebook her on a flight out of San Jose airport, which is actually kind of a cool airport because it's small and sort of easy to navigate, but
And
you
not
got to
that
get
far
all the
from
way from
SFO.
SFO. Yeah, but with traffic
But
and
still,
Silicon Valley
yeah.
and everything,
Totally.
so she's like, she gets down there somehow, I don't know, takes an Uber or whatever. And that flight gets canceled. But by the time it's been delayed so long, by the time it's canceled, it's like past midnight. And so she's just, she can't sleep in the airport, and they won't put her up at a hotel because the airline is just like, I don't know, they just didn't think about that, or they don't have the capacity, or they're just being difficult, whatever it is. And, so she's like, I don't really know anybody in San Jose, so like, not sure if I'm just gonna like wander around all night. Oh, by the way, my luggage made it to Denver. So it's like, she didn't even get on the original flight, but she had checked her bags in San Francisco. So now her luggage is in Denver on like some rando plane that wasn't even hers.
My worst nightmare.
And yeah, and she's like in another city without a hotel room and just kind of freaking out. But my mom's neighbors, which my mom lives up here in Sonoma County, California. Her neighbors went to Albuquerque or Santa Fe, New Mexico, and they made it there, like barely, but they can't get home. So now they're driving cross country.
Oh my God.
Because they have like a bunch of cats and like, I mean, thankfully my mom is happy to help, but it just, this is, and you're driving through the snow and all sorts of stuff. Last I heard, they made it to Flagstaff.
Oh, good. I hope they have some safe travels. But yeah, there was this map that was going around. It was just like some sort of internet thing that had all the regions of the United States, and every single region, except for California, was just like so fucking cold or whatever, some joke about how cold it was, and then California was like LOL.
You see those go around every few months. I'm
do.
sure the rest of the country really thinks it's funny.
I know,
really
exactly.
Funny.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
California rubs
Well,
it in. But I will say,
wait till we get an even larger earthquake than the last one that you experienced, Heather, and then everyone will laugh at us. So
tell me about it, because we will be falling off the face of the earth. But I will say we are having some weather up here. We've had a pretty big storm the last couple days, and it's supposed to go through the week. I do notice that some of my patio or my lawn furniture has fallen off the edge of the cliff. I don't know how far and if we are able to retrieve it, but it was very windy last night. Actually, the power went out. It's gone out about 4 times since last night, but thankfully we have a monster generator that pops on, but it's still kind of harrowing, like being at the edge of the cliff, especially during a storm like this. Thankfully, a lot of our big trees have been cut down over the years, to keep the houses safe, and my dad did that, and I'm really grateful. So we don't have any monster trees looming over our roof at this point, but there's still a lot of potential for damage. But currently we're doing all right, especially after this earthquake. It's been kind of a wild ride of a week. Makes me a little more nervous to leave on a plane with everything else happening in the United States. But you
Heather,
gotta take risks.
I don't know anyone who gets on a plane more often than you. You are like, you travel constantly. I don't know how you do it.
Well, it's funny because the only places I've been going on a plane are LA. Like I just popped down to LA, but that I haven't been anywhere else on a plane other than the Iowa trip. Okay, yeah, I did do that.
So
I think you're thinking of the times that I get in the car and I go down to like wine country, and I actually.
Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. I feel like compared to me, you are on the move. Like you are just a traveling lady these days, and I'm envious. It just, it's not in the cards for your old pal Sarah for the next couple of months. But we'll get there.
Well, it's good. There's good and bad, like with anything. Okay, my evil cat is approaching me, so we will see what happens if he knocks over my mic. Okay. Anyway, so tell us a little bit about what's been going on with you, Sarah Lane.
Well, so obviously I'm doing chemotherapy, and it's I'm not even going to try to pretend that that's not the only thing I think about, because it kind of is. It's very all consuming. So I figure, in the interest of transparency, I'll give everybody a little bit of an update. Had my second chemo session a few days ago. 4 days ago. And so of 4 sessions, which at this point, that's all I have to do, I am halfway done. So in that sense, I'm like, all right, we're halfway done.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I can do this 2 more times. And I sort of expected this, and I had heard from other people that I should expect it, is that this bounce back, and I'm only a few days into it, so it doesn't get worse from here. It kind of gets better, but that the effects of chemo are often just cumulative. Radiation too. People say that it's like, the first time you kind of go like, all right, I got the lay of the land. The second time you kind of go like, oof, that hit me harder, than it did the first time. And then it kind of, snowballs from there, which is why, you end up getting people who, are feeling pretty darn terrible, by infusion number 6, for example. So everybody just, pray to the gods or whatever you pray to, or just, send up a happy bat signal into the sky that I don't have to do more than 4 and I really am halfway done, because it's tough. It's I don't quite know how to explain it. There are these phases of, sort of, you kind of have your infusion, which is a very, very long day and quite uncomfortable, but really more boring than it is painful, to be honest. You just have to sit there all day, and just be like miserable, but it's not like painful so much, at least not for me. And then, you're just kind of tired after that for a couple days, just fatigue. They also pump you full of really strong anti-nausea meds, like through your IV when you're there, and those kind of carry you over for about 48 hours. I have anti-nausea medications, just like prescription, like in pill form, but they say don't even start taking those because like you don't want to like double up too much on this stuff.
Yeah.
You want the the kind of the liquid stuff to come out of your system first, and then you take the anti-nausea as needed. Oh, I need them. And I've mentioned on the show before, like I have a pretty strong stomach. I mean, feeling sick to my stomach is just not really a thing that I'm all that used to, and it sucks. It's just
nausea's the
when
worst.
you feel totally. It's like I assume it's. Well, it's not like the same as a migraine, because a migraine's a migraine and I've never had one, but it's like you can't think about anything else. You can't sort of like weather it or power through or just be like, yeah, I'm good. I just, I'm feeling a little under the weather. It's like you can't really like think. All you can think about is how terrible you feel.
Ugh. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
right. And you kind of go like, all right, do I take a walk? Maybe I need fresh air. Maybe I need to lay down. Should I drink more water? Maybe I'll have more ginger tea. It's like nothing. The anti-nausea medication does help. So if anybody's in a situation like mine, or you've got nausea issues, definitely look into Zofran, because that is one great drug. At least it's working for me. But yeah, it's tough, Heather. It's tough stuff. And I can't help but I try not to think about it too much, because it makes me actually feel sicker. But the amount of weird kind of poison that's in my body and working its way out in various ways, but also designed to like save my life, is really gross.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate everything about this. And there's no choice but to try to put on a happy face is too kind a way to describe it, but to try to just not sit around feeling too sorry for myself all day, because that's easy to do. But I mean, yesterday, I must have taken several naps, to the point where, because I was at my mom's house where it's nice and warm, and she fusses over me with cookies and things like that. She was like, are you worried that you're not going to be able to sleep overnight because you've been sleeping all day? And normally the answer would be yes, which is actually why I don't like napping very much. When I'm a normal person, because it'll eat into my capacity to sleep overnight and who wants to lay awake, in bed overnight. But this is a whole different ballgame. It's like, nah, I'm pretty sure I could sleep 20 hours today if I wanted to.
Wow.
And it's kind of like, I mean, if you feel crappy, you might as well sleep through it. It's better than being awake, to be honest.
Totally.
That's kind of a downer, but I'm just being honest, y'all.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know that I'm not there with you like every second of the day, like your mom is, but from here, I feel like you sound really solid in the sense that, yeah, you have to just accept it. It is the reality. It is your reality right now. But I really do think you're taking it in stride. And I know this is really difficult. I can't imagine all the feelings you're going through. And I get nervous about, I don't know, taking just innocuous drugs, which I don't know if there are any, but yeah, I know what you mean by like putting something in your body that is poison and feeling like your body is sacred, and just that feeling so vulnerable, and you have no control, is
That's a
really
good way
tough
to
place
put it.
be.
It's a good way to put it. I think I am sort of a control freak about certain things and not about others. But I think everybody is, right?
Sure.
I wouldn't call myself like the most type A person, but feeling out of control when it comes to, like my physical wellness, that's really, it's hard for anybody. And, there's also, I'll hear these anecdotes from people. People who go through chemotherapy, they have like fun ways to describe how you just like don't feel yourself, like, oh, I have chemo brain. Like I can't think of words right now. It's like, senior moment. It's all sort of that stuff. And people say, oh yeah, my chemo brain never went away. I just, I have a hard time like with memory or recalling things. And I think, oh, great. Can't wait for, my mind not to bounce back, because pretty important, especially, for what I do for work. I kind of have to be like on the ball as far as like, my mind working quickly. And, it doesn't mean that I'm going to be like, half brain capacity for the rest of my life or anything. But I definitely feel like, ooh, yeah, I just sort of bracing for some unknowns. That's really the only way I can describe it. Is there are so many unknowns, and that's why feeling out of control is, I can't, there's nothing, there's no control I can wield here. It's not like I'm not trying hard enough, it's simply not possible.
It's out of your hands.
To have it. Yeah.
And I don't think you're a control freak at all, but I do think, you've always been into your health. You've always, been into, nutrition and exercise and keeping your body and your mind sharp. I think it's going to take a lot to drag your mind down. I do. I think you are very sharp and on it. And I mean, I have seen you in all kinds of states, on stages, on sets, cameras rolling over to you, and you turn it on. Like you definitely have that ability, much more than I do. I think that I stay in my head a lot, and I have to like sort of pull myself into the moment consciously to make sense sometimes.
Well, it's also, I've been doing this for 25 years.
Totally.
Right. So it's like, there's a lot of like, oh, muscle memory, performance, turn it on thing. Like, that's, trust me, I've had some pretty great on camera moments where I did not feel great. But don't, I think I was fooling everybody. Okay. But,
you
practice
do a good job
perfect.
fooling. Yeah, for sure.
Practice.
Not everybody has that skill.
Well, sometimes I wonder why was I given that skill specifically? I'd like lots of other skills that might serve me better. Like money management. That would be a great skill. No one ever gave that to me. I was just gifted with, some capacity to like give me a microphone and I'll just riff for a while.
Again, something that's out of your control. I mean, there's only so many things that, we can't help our like DNA and all that stuff is hard to control. But yeah, it seems like, we chatted a bit over the weekend, and I mean, we usually chat a little bit each day. And it seemed to me like a lot of people were having like kind of a modest holiday.
Well,
I don't know.
I think the weather was a huge part of it. A
Oh,
lot of people were
totally.
just kind of grounded, or just saying like, "Screw it, I don't want to be stuck at an airport," for the next
Yep.
5 hours. Which
Those
which
people
is
are smart.
which was if I had had nothing going on health wise this holiday season. This was just a weird Christmas. I mean, let's be honest.
Yep.
But and it's going to continue to be weird for a little bit longer. But I knew that going in. I knew it was going to be super mellow. It wasn't going to be all that festive
Yeah.
and whatever. But if it had been a normal Christmas, which is this year, something that a bunch of my extended family wanted to take seriously, and a bunch of them were congregating down in Southern California, where some of my family lives. And people were traveling like from Switzerland and from Boston and from, my cousin's been in Haiti. And it's like, I mean, people were really making an effort. And, my mom and I were kind of like, well, I mean, we're obviously not going. There's just, I mean, Sarah has to like. I'm not like I'm
No,
not
not a
flying
good
to
time.
Palm Springs 2 days after chemotherapy. Like I can't even really be in like a room with a bunch of people without wearing a mask.
Yeah.
That's just that's out the window. But I still would have been like, I don't want to get on a plane, because I've always been lucky enough. So many of us, especially those of you who just don't live close to where you grew up, and you want to see your family for the holidays, and so somebody's got to travel, and I just I don't know. I've been lucky enough to very rarely have to do that over Thanksgiving or Christmas. It's I either hunker down wherever I am, or it's a drive that's not that bad.
Yeah, totally.
Because it used to be that my whole family was more or less in California, or they would come to somewhere that was pretty nearby me. But yeah, I mean, hope y'all have held up okay, especially those who have been in severe weather, because it's I know it's scary, and
It can be, yeah.
and there's been a lot of damage, and really I feel for folks who are having a hard time.
Yeah, definitely. And the one short year I spent in New York, I did go. I think I moved there around New Year's, and it was freezing, snow on the ground for many many months. For those first few months, and it was different for me because I'm a Cali girl and I wasn't used to snow, and it was very novel at first. The first snow is so pretty and it's just exciting. There's a commiseration and this like you're banded together and it's kind of fun, but then it gets old and it gets scary and it's dark and it's hard to get around and.
Yeah, I don't think it's really fun at all. Not in a city. Yeah, it's fun when you look out the window and go, "Oh, look, snow on the roofs."
Yeah.
And then you go outside and you're like, "This is a nightmare. My
Yeah,
shoes
totally.
are ruined."
People do it every year.
I
They
slid
hey,
and hurt my hip.
I have to hand it to my friends who live in New York year round. I mean, or East Coast. I mean, it's. I think some people have to enjoy it if they're going to stay there. I mean, it's. Yeah. I
Well,
don't know.
if you're used to it, you're going to listen to us and say, "What a couple of babies!" And you know what? We are. We're
Oh,
softies.
totally. We are.
And I definitely don't get more resilient as I get older. I get a little bit more like, that travel sounds a little too hard for me.
That's how
I'm gonna go
I
ahead
feel.
and get you guys next time.
That's how I feel. Seriously, that's definitely been a theme in my life this year for sure. It's been easy to just, pop down to another city in California, but to go somewhere international, to go on a longer trip with multiple legs, and getting from point A to point B. It's funny. I mean, I remember just throwing on a backpack in my 20s and moving to France, and I'd never even been there. And just not even having any care in the world, never had any worry or anticipation. I mean, when you're young like that, it's just your mind just doesn't go there as much. And I think as you get older and you have like the more experience, and yeah, there's just a lot more breeding ground for worry. And so yeah, I definitely am having a week of a little bit of pre-travel insomnia. Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely a new feeling for me, for sure. But yeah, the Christmas holiday was, I was really worried about this holiday, honestly, because I was supposed to go see some family in the Bay, but because this other trip popped up, I didn't want to be gone 3 trips in a row. And so stayed here, didn't really make any plans, just like my partner and I, we like came up with some, fun menu items that we'd never cooked before. So we thought, let's cook together in the kitchen. And we did that. I definitely had my share of champagne. And that was probably the most exciting part of my holiday, was just to kind of hung out with a couple local friends, went to the beach, watched old movies, and just kind of listened to Christmas music, like fun, I don't know, Bing Crosby and just like wacky stuff that just I don't normally do. But it was very sweet, and
Yeah,
a
sounds
lot of
nice.
adult fun. It wasn't very, it was not centered around children or presents. We didn't do any presents. I have a teeny tiny tree. In fact, one of my friends who saw a picture of it actually like guffawed, thought it was ridiculously small. But I really like it. It creates very little ambiance, but it was kind of perfect for this season. It was a perfect, mellow, low key, no frills except for the champagne. But let us know what you guys did. Email us at hi@havesuchagoodday.com. I'd be curious to hear what kind of wild antics you got up to this holiday season.
Yeah, right. Even if you don't celebrate Christmas, which many people don't. I always try to be careful not to be like, "How was your Christmas?" And someone's
Yeah,
like,
totally.
"I don't celebrate Christmas." By the way, I've not celebrated plenty of Christmases as an adult, just depending on in the past, like, either I didn't want to travel and kind of no one was really in town, or maybe I have a friend in town and we go like, let's just go to a movie, and it's very not Christmassy. Well, although
Yeah,
going to a movie is kind of Christmassy for a lot
it
of people.
is.
It's very traditional, but it wasn't really anything I did as a kid until I got older. But yeah, we would like to know, even if you didn't have the best holiday ever, if you have any fun stories, fun anecdotes, we'd love to hear them, because we're a family or
We are
something like that.
indeed. We're in this
Yeah,
together.
we are in this together. So I was mentioning that kind of funny, this week. It's the I don't know. I don't know what I should have a term for what this week is. I'm sure somebody has coined something that's very clever. Like post Christmas, pre New Year's, nothing's happening. Everyone's just sort of like still working off the ham that they ate, on the 25th, and watching the last of the football games, and enjoying whatever gifts they might have gotten. And I've done this the last couple of years on this show, just bringing up the idea of New Year's resolutions. And I don't even really have any, because New Year's resolutions, I think, are great. I think you can make a resolution any day that you want,
Sure.
any hour of any day. It does not have to be something that happens on January 1st, but it's a good way to say, all right, Gregorian calendar, starting over, let's see what this year will bring. I am definitely in one of those years where there is no resolution that I can make that isn't just like, I hope I'm healthy.
Exactly.
And that's also not a resolution I can make. I mean, I can do my very best to stay healthy, but some of it, again, out of my control. But I was thinking about, yeah, all right, so, if you hold my feet to the fire and say, well, Sarah, you have to make a resolution, like something has to be important to you that you'd like to work on and like to do differently in the year ahead. And I think that, and this is really, a pedestrian resolution, but I think what I want to do is try not to get too stuck in my my routines. And I think many of us thrive on routine on some level. Some people need it like a rigid routine.
Yeah.
I would say that because of the nature of some of my work, namely hosting Daily Tech News Show, my schedule is very rigid. It's like the routine doesn't deviate. I can't just be like, oh, hey guys, I'm running 10 minutes late. It's like that would be a huge problem. I can't just like get started on work when I feel like it because I'll run out of time. Things have to happen on a live schedule, and that keeps me honest. And at the same time, it means that I can be flexible about certain things and very inflexible about other things. And because of that, I think that some of the other things that I am flexible on, I can lean into that a little bit more. I can have a little bit more spontaneity, a little bit more, giving myself, a wide berth, being a little bit more lax about when something is supposed to happen and when it gets completed. Because, we all have, it's like if you have to go to a meeting at 9, well, that's when you go. It's like, I mean, we all understand what, appointments mean and why that's important. I think that I tend to kind of go like, well, I have to do this at this time and I have to do this at this time because these are the only pockets of the day that I have. But I actually have a little bit more leeway than I give myself. And it sometimes keeps me from maybe having the more fun version of the day, if that makes sense. Yeah. So this is sort of I'm being a little, I don't know, esoteric or something about my New Year's resolution, but I feel like that is something that I think I could work on. I think I could, just look at a few things differently. And why not a better time than starting the new year off, looking ahead towards a better health scenario for myself. And when I have that, really enjoying the fact that, we're all alive and we have freedom. And that's a really great thing. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Yeah. Like the world is your oyster. I always like that expression. Yeah. But I totally am with you because mine is somewhat similar because I don't really do resolutions either. And you'll listen to past shows and you'll see that Sarah and I both are not huge resolution people. But mine is a little, I think you said esoteric, abstract. I don't know what you want to call it, but I think for me, it's similar because I feel like I want to pay attention to the moment a little bit more and stop moving so fast through like the daily domestic stuff just to get to sort of the higher level stuff, like I just want to put away the dishes quickly so I can get to like something that's more stimulating or something, but like resting in the moment a little bit, enjoying the moment a little bit more, and stop fantasizing about what could happen. Because it's just perfect. Like case in point, this trip, like you were saying, like get out of your routines. Like I think I'm in a routine too. And I've become so comfortable in my routine that booking a trip somewhere international is very uncomfortable for me because I haven't done it in 5+ years and it's throwing me out of my comfort zone. And yeah, it's a weird feeling. Like that's why I'm sort of I'm not forcing myself to go, but it was a hard decision to make. But I know that I need it to kind of jog myself out of my, I don't know.
You're also going to you're going to have like a super fun 2-week vacation in Mexico City. It's not like you're going to boot camp.
No, I know.
This is going to be like awesome.
Boot camp. No. And actually, we're actually going to, I'm not sure I told you, but we were going to spend some time in Mexico City, but we're now, because of how difficult it was to book these different legs. And that's part of the reason why we're flying when we're flying is because there were not many tickets left. But we're actually spending a week in Oaxaca and a week in a little coastal town called Puerto Escondido. And so, yeah, it's been sort of fun doing the research, but I'm telling you, I'm not proud of feeling this way. Like, I mean, like I said earlier, like I used to just like throw a couple things in a bag, didn't even think about packing or caring about any of that. And I would just go just like this sort of unbridled, like blind, like, yeah, let's have an adventure. And I think now I think I consider myself an adventurous person. And the person that I'm traveling with is even more adventurous than me, which, you know, can be good and bad, I guess. But good, she'll push me, and I want to be pushed. And I actually realize, you know, as we age, we get to know ourselves better. And I do feel like I know myself better than ever.
Yeah.
And I'm really realizing, like, when I look back on a lot of the trips I've taken, it's like part of my mind and spirit, all I want to do is go to like an easy tropical beach and just chill and read a mystery book or something. But I don't think I really want to do that, because I think what I really want deep down is an adventure and a new experience, like a profound cultural experience that will change me as a person, which is why I think I threw myself into living in France just on a whim. And it was hard. It was not an easy, you know, year out there. But I look back on it with so much. I mean, it just was everything to my life. It made me who I am today. And so I think it's like I get torn, because part of me, I just really want to chill. Like, I want to like not work. I want to relax. Yeah, I'd love to get caught up in a steamy romance novel, which I never do, on the beach. But but like, the truth is, I think that I want to go on a trip where I can learn something new, be challenged, like get myself out of my ruts and my routines. But I have this this mix of like excitement but trepidation. And it's just like, I don't know, I fast forward the movie a lot, you know, and I think that is partially an age thing. You know, you think about what could happen, you know, are you going to pack the right shoes? You know, is there anything, you know, am I going to have any delays? Am I, you know, and it's sort of like, I want to get myself out of that thinking. That to me is this sort of, this thinking your mind plays tricks on you, you know. It's like you have to kind of control the places your mind goes, because it'll just run rampant.
Run wild.
Run wild. And so
it's gonna run, okay, guys? It's gonna run.
It's gonna run amok. But yeah, and then I'll worry about my pets. You know, it's also that part where you're leaving home, and I have a lot of responsibility. And when I was younger, I used to travel with all you guys, with all my TV friends and my production friends, and we were all on the same schedule, and it wasn't a big deal. We all synced up our schedules, and it was fine. And, you know, but now I've got like 3 pets, and I've got a huge responsibility at the house, the business. You know, I'm not going to be bringing my checkbook with me. It's just, I have to do a lot of prep to leave now. And I think that's part of that trepidation, is what you're leaving behind, you know? So, but
I mean, it's
not a new feeling. I know other people feel this out there for sure. It's not like I have had some epiphany and it's like, you know, but
yeah, I know what you mean though. There was a time where going on, let's say, I don't know, because I would always, you know, I would use if I worked at a full-time job where I got 3 weeks of vacation a year or 2 weeks or whatever it was, I'm going to use it. Yeah. And all I really cared about was, do I have the money for the plane ticket? You know, and if I did, I'm out of there, and I'll see y'all when I get back. And, you know, of course there was more to it. You still got to pack and like get yourself to the airport and, you know, have some sort of a plan. But yeah, it was very much more of like, I'm just going to go see y'all. And that's really fun. I could still do that, but yeah, there's having pets or kids. Or just home things that can't fall by the wayside in your absence, you know, and various work things, you know, that all factors into it. But I know what you mean. I definitely know what you mean. I think you're gonna have a real good time. And I was having this conversation recently with somebody about like, what's an ideal vacation? You know, is it that, you know, let's just chill, read a book, decompress? And the answer is, that sounds pretty great. You know, if you're me, sometimes it takes a few days to unwind to the point where I can even enjoy that. Yeah. Because I have to like get myself out of the okay, what's our itinerary today? You know, because I don't want to miss anything, you know, and I've already like looked on Google Street View, so I know exactly where I'm going and exactly where the shave ice thing is. If you make a left at this alley, you know, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, there's a lot of logistics. You're like producing your vacation, you know.
Well,
it's
and sometimes I know that I can, because I'm excited, right? Yeah. Like I have gone I remember the first time I went to Barcelona. This is 10 years ago now, but I'd never been there before, and staying in, part of town that not familiar with. And it was, kind of old part of town. And so, lots of, narrow alleyways and stuff. And I mean, I saw my entire neighborhood on the internet from every single angle before I ever got there, to the point that when we showed up, my travel partner and I, when we showed up to the Airbnb, I was like, yep, this is it. Yep, looks exactly like I thought. And in a way, I was like, it was almost like I had like peeked at my Christmas presents early.
Yeah, totally.
It was kind of cool that I had the lay of the land, because I was like, there wasn't a whole lot of like, now where do we go? I was like,
there
oh, I know,
wasn't a
there's
lot
this
of
restaurant.
mystery,
There's a restaurant right here on the square. They say it's the best. We're gonna go there. So that's good to a point. And then I think it's kind of like, you gotta
let go a little bit.
Some surprise.
Yeah. I think the letting go and that lack of control, again, bringing that back up is a huge part of it. Is like, we want to be in control of anything that happens to us. We don't want anything bad to happen to us, obviously. So we try to control every like piece. But it gets to a point where you just have to, I mean, life just on any level, you kind of have to roll with the punches. You just roll with the punches. That's why the Buddhists are brilliant and say you got to live in the moment, because that's kind of all you can do. But I know what you're saying. Like I'm kind of trying to curate my trip too. Like I've been, okay, I'm gonna do this. And I realized too, I'm like, I could do a couple days on the beach, but I maybe want to take a cooking class, or like just do something that furthers my development, furthers my education.
I think you're gonna love it. Oaxaca's a very, very cool city. I mean, the state is cool also. But
it's an interesting like geography.
Gonna have
too.
a good time.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Lanes.
it's up real hot. Yeah, no, I can't wait to hear about it, and I want lots of pictures of, colorful serapes and, good food.
Mole tacos. Yeah. It's definitely Oaxaca's,
all those
like,
things. All those things.
Definitely the food
it occurs
spot.
to me, if you're listening to the show, I mean, give Heather and I a pass, because it's, post holidays, everybody's a little fuzzy, but this feels like a sort of a heavy show to me. Not that we're cracking jokes the rest of the time, doing stand-up comedy, but it is kind of a heavy show, and I just wanted to just kind of just throw it out there that I know lots of people are having heavy times, and I could make some sort of like a COVID reference, because the COVID thing is, that still looms over me, certainly. And, that has been such a big part of how life has changed over the last few years. For some people, it's kind of back to normal. For others, not at all. But I think even the back to normal, which sometimes, I'll go through a week where I'm like, life felt pretty normal. And, even then it's not totally from the before times normal. It's a different kind of normal. And I think that I try to give myself a little grace when I feel like, I don't know, life is just so weird all the time. And like, why can't it go back to normal? It's like, well, new normal, everybody.
Yep.
So yeah, if we sound like we have the weight of the world on our shoulders when we talk about New Year's resolutions and traveling and things like that, it's because sometimes this stuff is nuanced and complex.
It is. It's hard to articulate things perfectly. So we're trying to get like ideas across, have a conversation. If you guys want to chime in, we always welcome that. Please email us at hi@havessuchagoodday.com. Better yet, go into Discord. Been chatting a little bit about post-holiday stuff with our peeps. We've been a little sparse in there these days, but only because there's a lot going on. End of the year, lots of stuff we're grappling
everybody's
with.
Busy.
Yeah,
everybody's busy. And if you're saying to yourself, "Oh, Discord, yeah, how do I do that?" Well, you can become a patron. You can become a patron, and you don't have to chat in Discord, but we'd sure love to have you. Patreon.com/havesuchagoodday is where you can find out more about directly supporting the show. We do offer an ad-supported version of the show for free, so you know it's completely free to hang out with us for an hour a week. But we do keep the show running off of direct community support. And thanks to everybody who already is a patron. If you'd like to become a patron, again, go to patreon.com/havesuchagoodday. And if you can part with $5 per month or any level above that, that's how you can get into our Discord. And it's a really great group of folks. Heather and I are always talking about, in fact, this should have been our resolution, Heather. We're always talking about, okay, let's reimagine some perks.
Yeah.
You know, some fun perks for patrons. It's been a minute. You know, we had a bunch of perks that didn't really end up coming to fruition just because we had to sort of listen to all y'all that, like, what did you want us to do? You know, what did you not want us to do? So that's something that we can certainly revisit. Welcoming any suggestions, by the way, because it takes a village. Heather and I, you know, we're doing this. We enjoy doing this, but we're not just doing it for us. We're doing it for you. So we want you to have the best experience possible while we moan and groan about our absurd lives.
Well, yeah, we're just, you know, we're getting through each day, and I think we're a couple philosophical ladies, and yeah, so let us know what you like and don't like, and yeah, anything that you want us to add to the mix, we're happy to do so. And once we get through this, you know, crazy, weird, dead week, and I get back from vacation, and Sarah gets all healthy, you know, we'll infuse
we're gonna knock your socks off, internet.
That's right.
You just wait. Oh my gosh, bigger and better. I'm gonna be like made of like, you know, bionic material by that point.
You
shooting
are
lasers
Sarah.
out of my eyes.
It's happening.
It's happening. Yeah, Heather will come back. You know, she'll you know only speak Spanish. It's gonna be great.
Yeah,
so
I'll be wearing like crazy, colorful clothes and.
just so crazy and colorful.
Crazy.
Yeah, unlike anywhere else.
I'll be whipping up mole in my kitchen. I actually don't love mole.
That reminds me of, I won't go down the dream corridor because, you know, like we always say, nobody cares about your dream. But I have, suffice to say, I've had just the strangest dreams. A lot of it is just because my sleep patterns are really, really weird right now. Yeah. So, you know, I will, you know, I'll wake up like yelling a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, which is, I mean, I've been known to do that. You know, everybody does that every so often.
Yeah, I've done it a few times.
Yeah, where you have a nightmare or whatever, and it's like, these aren't even necessarily nightmares, although sometimes they are, but it's like something where like, this happened the other day where my mom kind of came rushing in and she's like, "You all right? You sounded like you were choking." And I was like, "Yeah, I was like screaming in my nap. Sorry, that was really weird. I woke myself up. I don't even know what I was screaming at." But see, this is where chemo brain comes in because now I have no idea why I even brought this up. I'm like, okay, there was a dream that I was going to tell you about, but no one wants to hear it, so we're just going to go ahead and move on.
Well, it's funny because I have very vivid dreams too, like crazy ones lately also. Not sure why, but I'll start to tell Elijah, my boyfriend, my dream, and he kind of does this bit of an eye roll because he's the same. He doesn't love hearing about people's dreams. And I always bring you up, Sarah, because you're not a big fan either. But I like want to tell
it's
someone
not
in the
that
morning.
I don't like it. I just feel like, I mean, it just doesn't mean any. It's not
doesn't.
meaningful.
It means something to you
to anybody
because
but you because
exactly.
you're yeah.
I get it.
Like, yeah. I mean, I could tell you about my dream, you know, the one that I was about to tell. It had to do with, because you said colorful clothing, and I realized that my dream had a lot to do with, like, I was moving and I had to move all these clothes. I had all these clothes, and I'm like, why do I have so many clothes? And every single one of them, I'd look at it and go, yeah, but I really like that sweatshirt. I can't get rid of it. And like, I couldn't like whittle down my wardrobe. Yeah. Which in reality, I don't actually have that big of a wardrobe because I hate stuff. Yeah. You know, I like to keep things as simple as possible. Anyway, let's move on to a couple emails that we got. And again, hi@havesuchagoodday.com is where you can send anything that might be on your mind. We really love emails, so do keep them coming. They make our day. First one comes from PPE, and this is in reference to, you know, we were talking about the fact that there was an earthquake up your way, Heather. I did not feel it because I'm too far south, but it was quite big, wasn't
It
it?
was a big one. Yeah, it was a 6.4 and it was at 2:30, like 2:34 in the morning. And boy, did I wake up. And I'm a deep sleeper. I wear earplugs. I've got those heavy dreams, but boy, did I get jostled out of bed. It was wild. It was definitely reminded me of like the 1989 quake in the Bay Area when I lived in a place called Los Gatos.
Yeah.
And that one was like an 8 point something. So it was definitely bigger. But this one was pretty huge, and the thing about it was it lasted a long time, and it was like moving back and forth like a saw. It was just like back and forth, and the house was, and the first thing I thought of was like our cabin. We have these vacation rentals, and we have this little cabin that people love, but I'm not joking, it's probably 15 feet from the cliff, and that was the first thing I thought of. I'm like, I hope those guests are okay and that they didn't slip off into the ocean.
Right. Yeah. Because one big jolt and things do happen sometimes, especially with little cottages in the wind.
In the morning, actually, we got this really cute poem from them. They like really enjoyed it. Like they said it was really just a wild experience. It was pretty funny.
I have to say to everybody listening, Heather talks about this stuff sometimes on the show, but not all the time. Heather and I have very different Airbnb experiences. No Airbnb guest has ever written me a poem or left a cute note or left flowers or left really anything except a bunch of groceries behind, which by the way, sometimes does work in my favor where I'm like, cables. Nice, a dozen eggs, I'll take them. But no, we don't. I think, I don't know, like your guests sound very poetic and grateful.
They really are.
My guests, I think, are hopefully having a very wonderful time. But no, yeah, I don't get things like that.
It's interesting. I wonder what that's all about. I mean, it really is funny. There's an effect that this place has on people. People have like a kind of a cathartic experience, and I mean, I get it, but I think I'm a little. I know this place. I used to come up here all the time.
Maybe you just draw the warm fuzzies out of
maybe I
peeps.
do. Maybe I do.
That's a kind of a little bit of a superpower, Heather. So next time you're feeling down in the dumps, you could say, people write me poems.
I got the warm
about
fuzzies.
How nice their cottage experience was.
I know.
So
it's great.
you can take that. You can take that one to the bank.
I'll do that. So I'll try to send some of my peeps down your way. How about that?
Good. Sounds good. We also got an email from Ron, sort of a two-parter. This is in reference to stuff we were talking about on the show last week. Ron, first of all, I know you're lying, but Ron says, Sarah, your voice sounds amazingly well, perky and not gravelly, because I said I sounded like I was 95 years old and been smoking Pall Malls all of my life. I still feel that way because we're actually recording the show early again, and I don't know. I don't know.
Raspy too.
Maybe it's just some weird thing that only I notice, but I feel like, I sound.
I don't think you sound any different. I mean, I think that there's sometimes I'll notice things, when I'm editing, like we have to clear our throat or that kind of thing. But I thought you smoked
I don't mean that.
Sarah.
It's just more of a. Anyway, thank you, Ron, for saying that my voice does not grate on you as much as I worry it does. And then Ron also said, in reference to you, Heather, talking about wearing glasses and contacts and maybe needing a new prescription and thinking about progressives. But the fact that, that's all a bit of a learning curve. Ron said, the whole stumbling while going downstairs thing, it's only something that happens in the first few days with progressives. You'll adjust. I have.
Indeed. That's what I've been told. I think the bottom line, and then we'll wrap this baby up, is that nothing is perfect. There's no magic bullet for your eyesight or for anything. It's, you just have to adapt to, you have to be okay with it not being perfect, and you have to adapt to that. So.
Well said. Well said. And yeah, in the meantime, since we are wrapping up episode 171, I mean, look at us, we're I mean, it's going to be 200 before,
Oh yeah, 200. I can't even believe it.
I don't know. We're going to have to bake a cake or we'll do something fun.
Pop some
200
champagne.
is actually sort of far away from now. We're talking like 30 weeks away.
It
but
is.
Still, but still, it's gonna happen. So, so thanks to all of you
thanks, y'all.
for being with us. We hope you've had such a wonderful holiday season. We wish you nothing but to live, laugh, and love in 2023. In fact, put that on your wall and frame it. You'll be the first person who did. And it's okay if you already have that on your wall.
I mean, we really, truly hope that you just have such good days out there.
We do. Yeah. I mean,
Really.
why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why else? That's why we're here. We're here. It's we're all in this together.
We are.
And that is kind of, I don't know, the takeaway, I guess.
It is the takeaway. So y'all, everybody, it's very important to us that you stay healthy and you stay safe and you stay beautiful. Until next time, I will remain Heather forever.
You had to think about that one. I will be, who am I? Yes, Sarah. I will remain Sarah, and I will be Sarah next time as well. Happy New Year, everybody, and have such a good day.